I eat 4 days a week. It's not an exaggeration. It's not a gimmick. I want to talk about how I do it and why I do it. Starting off with the why. The first thing that I think about when it comes to whatever lifestyle choice I choose to implement, the first thing I think about is what is the return or what is the yield that this is going to give me in 5 years, 10 years, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. If I follow this set of habits, what am I going to look like? How am I going to live in my 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, hundreds, right? Am I going to have good digestive health? Am I going to be strong? Am I going to have the muscle mass? Am I going to have the libido, the energy, the sleep quality, right? All of these different facets of human health. How am I going to look like in those later years? Because I want to maximize my quality of life in my later years. And so a lot of what I do today is working towards that goal. Right? Because you can live for a very long time. But how many medications do you have to be on? Are you going to be able to just get in your car and drive at 70, 80, 90 years old? Are you going to be able to run? Are you going to be able to jog down the stairs or up the stairs? Are you going to be able to prep your own meals? Are you going to need a home health aide, or are you not going to need a home health aide? These are the things that you got to think about. Sure, as human beings, at some point in time, we're going to pass away, right? We're going to die. The question is, how are you going out? How much pain will you have to live with? How limited will your life be until that day, until that moment? That's the question. So, having said that, I'm going to go through the benefits and the reasons of why I eat 4 days a week and why I've been doing this. I'm going to start with the benefits to gut health. One of the biggest benefits for the fasting, where there's literally 3 days out of the week that I'm not eating. I'm fasting during that process, a water fast basically, where I'm drinking teas, chlorophyll water, things of these nature. One of the biggest benefits is to gut health. Now, you can fast willingly or unwillingly. If you've ever had let's say a stomach infection, some type of bacterial infection, if you've ever had a virus like the flu or something like this, these things will crush your appetite to the point where you do not want to eat. It could even be painful to eat. This is your body, your parasympathetic nervous system, shutting down your appetite to force you to fast, because during fasting is a great opportunity to heal, and healing actually gets ramped up while fasting. You give your body a break from all of the energy expenditure on, digestion in particular. Digestion can be pretty energy intensive, right? It's not as passive as you think. It requires a good bit of effort. And if you have, let's say, tremendous gas, bloating, stomach pain, or whatever kind of digestive complications, one of the best things that you can do is actually fast. Or at least shrink the duration of time that you eat within a given day. Right? You got to reduce the workload of your gut in order to make room for healing. Even think about it along the lines of fitness. Now, working out, that is work. But the thing is that you will never actually reap the benefits of exercise until you actually rest. Digestive health is the same thing. You can eat as good as you want to eat, and that's fine. But a lot of the times, in order to improve your gut health, if you want to see the benefits of it, you actually have to give your gut a rest. It's the same exact thing. Work is work. Whether you're working out in the gym or you're working your fork in your mouth, you know, eating your food, work is work, right? Digestion is a form of work. So during the fasting process, this makes room for your intestines, your entire digestive tract to be able to rejuvenate itself, to heal. This is very important for people with leaky gut issues, Crohn's, colitis, right? All these kinds of issues. This is a great way to rebalance your gut bacteria, your gut microbiome, right? This is a zero-sum game between good gut bacteria and bad gut bacteria. And during that fasting process, this allows your body to dramatically reduce bad gut bacteria and increase good gut bacteria simultaneously. Creates an environment for the proliferation of good gut bacteria, right? Fasting allows for liver rejuvenation, the rejuvenation and healing of your liver, as well as your kidneys and your stomach and all of the organs that govern your digestive tract, right? So giving your gut a break, that's benefit number one, allowing space for that healing of your digestive tract. Moving on, number two, we got metabolic health. Fasting is tremendously beneficial to your metabolic health. Let's talk about mitochondrial function. Let's say you have mitochondrial dysfunction, which most of the population has. I think only 10% of the population actually has a healthy metabolic function. There's some type of mitochondrial dysfunction there. When I talk about the mitochondria, these are the energy producing centers of your cells, right? Fasting helps to improve mitochondrial function. You actually see the shape and the size of your mitochondria change, right? And this leads to better energy production. This leads to more insulin sensitivity, right? Where your body, your cells can then use glucose and fat and convert it into energy in an optimal way, right? To an optimal degree, so that you're not lethargic, right? So that you're not gaining excess body fat easily, so that you're building muscle mass and strength more effectively, so that you're healing quicker. All of this is mitochondrial function, right? Oxygen uptake, better brain function, hormonal balance and stability. All of that is directly linked to your mitochondrial function, your metabolic health. So when you do some type of prolonged fast, whether it be for 16, 20, 24, or 36 hours, or even 3 or 7 days, right, which is a lot more intense, that leads directly to benefits to your metabolic health. This is meaningful to you if you are dealing with some of our most common chronic illnesses. Type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease, kidney disease, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, autoimmune disorders, hypo or hyperthyroidism. If you're dealing with any of these issues, it can be very beneficial to you to implement some sort of fasting. It doesn't necessarily need to be 24 or 36-hour fasts, right? But those can be very beneficial, even if you implement some form of plan or strategy like I'm doing, where I'm just eating 4 days a week. There are tremendous weight loss benefits to doing this. Now, I'm not particularly doing it to lose weight. I don't really have much weight to lose, but there are tremendous weight loss benefits. And of course, right, because there's 3 days out of the week that you're not eating, right? If you're eating just 4 days a week. But you use these fasting days basically to force your body to tap into fat and use that for stored energy. So this can significantly reduce the amount of visceral fat inside your body. And visceral fat is essentially fat that is built up on top of your organs. This would reduce the fat that's built up in your liver. So if you've got type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease, things of that nature, this would be a big benefit that you're going to want to know about, right? especially the benefit of reducing that visceral fat. And visceral fat can be deeply problematic if that gets out of control, right? That can cause you to have all types of leaky gut issues, right? Gut permeability issues, chronic inflammation, things of this nature, right? Excess cholesterol, right? This is a great way to reduce excess cholesterol, particularly excess LDL cholesterol, right? This is very beneficial for reducing excessively high triglycerides. Right? So all of these health markers improve in that fasted state. And of course, over time, this leads to significant reductions in body fat and improved insulin sensitivity, better gut and digestive health, mental health, all kinds of stuff, hormonal balance, etc. Right? Just to give you a frame of reference of how much weight you could expect to lose with a plan like this. Within a week, you can drop about 3 pounds a week, anywhere from 2 to 3 pounds a week, right? Of body fat, I mean. 3 pounds of body fat reduction in a week is pretty aggressive. So I would probably say somewhere along the lines of 2 pounds to 2.5, but 3 definitely is possible. Now, if you are storing a lot of excess water weight and you're chronically inflamed, you may see even higher levels than that. Now, most of weight loss is going to be water weight for the most part, especially in the beginning, right? So within your first week, you may experience dropping like 10 pounds on the scale in your first week, right? And maybe even the second week, but that varies from person to person. But I'm talking about actual dropping of body fat rather than overall weight reduction, right? Just to clear that up and just to paint a picture for you of what to expect. Now, you could not lose any weight at all doing this, but that would depend on how much you eat on your eating days and whether or not you're exercising and how much you're exercising and what kind of exercise you're doing. So there's a lot of different variables there. But more or less at the end of the day, this is a great way to engage in body recomposition, dropping a significant amount of body fat in a short period of time. The beauty about this is not just the benefits that you experience during engaging in a strategy like this, but what happens when you stop, when you go back to regular eating. That's where it really kicks in, because this kind of strategy is a setup for the rest of your year. So then this leads into how I go about doing it. Every year for the last 3 years, I take 12 to 16 weeks, right? 3 to 4 months. And I eat every other day. So for example, I would eat Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, and I would fast for 36 hours, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. All right, and that's pretty much what my schedule is like. So pretty much the only days that I eat back to back are Sundays and Mondays. During Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I do my resistance training where my workouts are around 20 to 30 minutes. And on my fasting days is where I'll walk around 5 to 7 miles. Usually I do this in the winter, and I walk my miles outside in the cold. So that's my cold exposure, my cold therapy. And that also ramps up thermogenesis during that. So I get extra caloric burn as a result. And the reason for this is because when you're outside, your body has to expend more energy in order to create more thermogenesis, leveraging mechanical energy to create an increased body temperature so that I'm not freezing outside while I'm walking all these miles. So your body will do the shivering, your body will force you to breathe deeper, to breathe more, because oxygen is the substrate for heat energy. Without oxygen, you can't get warm. And so all of this will raise your heart rate, raise your body temperature, and raise the amount of caloric burn that you're engaged in on your walk. And it's a phenomenal feeling. Doing that religiously on your fasted days would greatly contribute to drop in body fat. And then, of course, when you're doing your resistance training on your eating days, not all 4, but just 3, you only really need 3 training days, right, on average. Just good enough, right? We're not trying to get jacked and huge doing this strategy. That's not really what this is for. It's just a setup for things later to come, right? So this is what I do. And then, of course, I'm doing my intense resistance training on my eating days, and then I'm making sure that I'm well fed on my eating days. So how that looks like mathematically is I eat at 125% of maintenance calories. So basically 20 to 25% over what my daily nutritional needs are. And so I calculate that, and I create a diet plan for myself, and I implement that. And that's what I do on those 4 days that I do eat. On my fasting days are going to be used for my herbal teas and things like that. So the medicinal elements of my lifestyle without calories. So this would be things like matcha tea, moringa tea, ginger tea with a couple pinches of cayenne pepper, right? And in between those is chlorophyll water, right? Where I'll drink water with liquid chlorophyll, about like a teaspoon or so of liquid chlorophyll, or a half a teaspoon. Either, I would say like a half a teaspoon of liquid chlorophyll in about 10 to 12 ounces of water or so, right? Halfway through the day, about in the middle of the day or so, I may create like a little, let's say, pre-workout drink where I may do 3 grams of beta-alanine, 3 grams of citrulline malate, 5 grams of creatine monohydrate, and 1 gram of sea salt. And I'll drink that down, and I'll go out for my walk and, walk several miles or so. And that's like a blood flow cocktail, right? That's very good for expanding blood flow, right? Opening up my vascular system, right? These things are vasodilators. The citrulline malate. Citrulline is a precursor to arginine, which your body then used to make nitric oxide. And of course, that expands your blood vessels, allows for more blood flow, thus more blood oxygenation, thus more body heat, which would really help me outside in the cold in the wintertime, right? Before bed at night, I would drink magnesium malate. So that would be, I would do around, let's say, 210 to around 420 milligrams of elemental magnesium malate. But the way that I measure it out, because I like to do it in a powder form. So that would be around like a half a teaspoon of magnesium malate. And I will do that, and I'll drink that in about 4 ounces of water before bed. And so these are some of my habits that I would engage in on my fasting days. As far as the dosage is concerned, and if you really wanted to maximize for insulin sensitivity and weight loss, you may want to do, let's say, moringa tea, where you get moringa powder, and you drink that twice a day. And each serving is a half a teaspoon. Right, so a half a teaspoon of moringa powder and 8 to 10 ounces of hot water for tea twice a day. Ginger tea. You would do 2 grams of ginger powder, or a half a teaspoon, in 8 ounces or 10 ounces of water, hot water for tea, twice a day, right? And then you do 2, maybe even 3 pinches of cayenne pepper in each one of those mugs. All of these things are incredibly beneficial for estrogen and progesterone balance, testosterone levels. Cayenne pepper is very conducive towards weight loss and hydrating your lungs for easier breathing and things like that, right? Cayenne pepper has a chemical compound in it called capsaicin, or capsaicin, however you say it. And that increases thermogenesis and really helps to convert white fat into brown fat, right? There's different types of fat, right? What we consider to be stubborn fat is scientifically known as white fat. And of course, white fat is the least susceptible to thermogenesis. And so that cayenne pepper can help to convert that white fat into brown fat, which is the most susceptible to thermogenesis, right? And that's the fat that's easier to burn. So little things like this help to accelerate weight loss, in particular fat loss. Moringa powder helps to improve insulin sensitivity. So when you do that amount of moringa powder, about 4 grams or so, for 12 weeks, that helps to also accelerate the conversion process of white fat into brown fat, as well as improve insulin sensitivity long term. This is very good for people who have type 2 diabetes, right, and want to be more insulin sensitive, reverse their insulin resistance. Ginger also helps with this. Ginger, over a 12-week period, doing 4 grams of ginger every day for about 12 or 16 weeks or so. And that also helps to improve insulin sensitivity, mitochondrial function, and that kind of thing, right? Accelerating weight loss. This also helps for women as far as hormonal balance, right? So ginger is a really big deal for women as well as men, because while it helps to even out the balance between estrogen and progesterone for women, it helps to raise healthy testosterone and adrenal levels for men. And that contributes to greater muscle gain, greater fat metabolism, better blood sugar, all that type of stuff. All right. Chlorophyll water, or liquid chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a very big deal for human health. This is the reason why leafy greens are so medicinal and beneficial to human health. A big part of that is the chlorophyll that's found inside those leafy greens. And so when you get the liquid version of that and you put it in your water, that helps to detoxify your body. That raises your copper levels, right, to increase hemoglobin, which is a blood protein that is needed for oxygen uptake into your blood, right? And of course, oxygen, again, is needed for thermogenesis to happen in your body at all, right? So in order to be healthy metabolically, you need that iron, you need that copper, you need that hemoglobin, right? You need that oxygen uptake in order to improve insulin sensitivity, balance hormones, get to your ideal body fat percentage, etc. And so you can leverage all of these things on your fasting days, right? To really make this thing worth your while. Now, as far as weight loss is concerned, if you're sedentary during your fasting days, chances are you're going to lose a minimal amount of body fat doing this, because then your metabolism is going to slow down even more. Thermogenesis is going to decline if you're sedentary on your fasting days. So if you really want to maximize the benefits of your fasting days, it would be a good idea to get those steps in, to walk those miles. You don't have to do anything intense. You don't have to do any intense exercise. Walking is like top tier, in my opinion. It is the best exercise you can do for fat loss, for weight loss. Now, you may say, well, I don't really want to lose weight. I want to gain weight. I want to increase muscle mass. I don't want to get any skinnier. Should I do this? My answer to you would be, well, probably not, but you could do some variation of it, where instead of just eating 4 days a week, maybe you just eat 5 or 6 days a week. But a strategy like this sets you up for greater muscle mass gain further down the line. Because when you have increased mitochondrial function, increased insulin sensitivity, a better hormonal profile, lower body fat percentage, all of these things facilitate quicker muscle mass and strength gain. So that's the thing you would want to consider. Now, for me personally, I am at this moment, I am exactly 4 weeks in to doing this. I have dropped 5 pounds. Not 5, like 7 pounds, somewhere around there, right? It's 5 pounds after an eating day, but after a fasting day, it's 7 pounds. So after a full day of eating, I'm about 2.5 to 3 pounds heavier than after a full day of fasting, right? So, when you're on an eating day, when you eat a substantial amount of carbohydrates, the carbohydrates is going to cause you to be a bit heavier, right? Because all of that glucose is going to be stored inside your lean tissue, right? Inside your skeletal muscle. And so that's going to add to your weight. And then, of course, as that glycogen depletes after a workout and things like that, and throughout a fasting day, and your liver glycogen declines, then you'll be a few pounds lighter. But my lean mass weight hasn't really changed. I think I've dropped 1 pound of lean mass, or half a pound of lean mass, right? It's 1 pound down of lean mass after a full fasting day, but when I eat, then my weight is back up. So it's like I never lost any lean mass at all. I've been able to retain my strength. I've been able to retain muscle mass. And I've been able to retain my energy levels, my sleep quality, and everything. The only thing I haven't really been retaining is body fat, which is ideal. But I'm playing the long game here. And so if you really want to use a strategy like this, understand you'll get very short-term benefits from using a strategy like this. But more importantly, it'll set you up for the rest of the year to get compounded gains and results later on down the line. I'm running a 12-week mentorship for Tribe by Noire members. From there, you'll get access to my live seminars, my live Q&As, and the replays for the live seminars and live Q&As. You'll get access to all of my courses and guides, training plans, high raw vegan nutrition guide and diet plans. You get access to the video tutorials, the recipes, as well as the member support group, where you can communicate with me directly as well as all of the other members of the community. From there, you can get and give support on your journey. So if this is something that's interesting to you and you're looking forward to getting started, hit the link in the description box below. Join us.